I think the answer to life is learning how to heal yourself so that in turn you're healing the global consciousness. And oh, they gave me goosebumps. And so like that's really what I'm working on right now is just finding all the parts of me that maybe have been a little broken over the lifetime of different experiences and things I've been through, and really going inside and asking myself, like, what do I need to pass this point? Like, what do I need to heal myself in these areas? And so a lot of things I've been doing right now is doing a lot of journaling, doing a lot of meditation. I do guided meditation specifically at night.
Today, we get to speak with Abigail Sinclair. She's the founder and CEO of the Human Network Connection. She helps entrepreneurs and podcasters in growing their network through guest appearances on podcasts with the help of media sheets that enable podcasters picking the right guests for their podcasts. After leaving her corporate job and teaching virtual assistants her corporate experience, she's been running an agency for 10 years to help entrepreneurs with a variety of virtual support. This builds on her authority as being a financial and wealth strategist. Let's listen in to this episode as we explore the journey that enabled Abigail to succeed. Thank you for tuning in to Hacks and Hobbies with your host, Junaid. We're visited by our amazing guests coming from all walks of life, who want to learn their story, their struggles, and their journey on how they got to where they are today. So stick around. Abigail, thank you so much for coming onto the podcast.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I know we've been trying to get this scheduled for quite some time, so I'm very excited to be here. And yeah, let's get started.
Sweet. So, Abigail, we met through certain different networks many eons ago. You know, internet age is so weird, but we've been connecting and we've been chatting back and forth, passing guests and learning about each other's business practices and what are the cool tools on WordPress. Tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got started in this space. What inspires you, and what's the version of your journey that's no one heard before?
Sure. Well, how I got started, just in general, being an entrepreneur, about 10 years ago, when the last economic crash happened, I realized, being in corporate America and having that job, that it's not something you can always rely on, especially when things get tough, which I
Mhm.
find interesting. You would think, if anything, we should be able to rely on that, right?
Yes.
But turns out you can't. So I decided I never wanted to be in that predicament again. I went into credit card debt. I kept my place, but I mean, I had massive amount of debts because I couldn't afford to just pay rent normally or pay utilities normally. So it was just a really difficult period of time for
Mm.
myself and for so many others out there.
Yeah.
And what I decided was, at this point, I needed something else that I could do outside of corporate America. And so what I did is I took all of my skills that I've learned over the time that I spent there, and I created a virtual assistant business. And so that was kind of the first business that I launched to bring me into this world. And it was a lot of fun, but I wouldn't ever say it was something I was passionate about. It was more of a convenience factor, right? Taking
Mhm.
some knowledge I already had and then learning how to make income on my own with it. So definitely learned a lot during those first 10 years.
Yeah.
And I think that's the most coolest thing about being an entrepreneur is you're always learning. I don't think it ever stops because
Absolutely.
technology and information is continually changing and advancing. So
No, that's beautiful. Virtual assistants back 10 years ago, that's pretty awesome because I think that's around the time that I read the book 4 Hour Work Week.
oh,
And Tim Ferriss talks about virtual assistants. I'm like, how are you working 4 hours? And it was like a fascination to me. And I was like, that's never gonna work. How did you like? I was in denial, but I know now that it is true because there's a ton of virtual assistants that are helping entrepreneurs level up and scale. In fact,
hmm.
I I've been working with the VA for the past couple, about a year and a half myself. So it's been pretty exciting because now, I have a top of a peace of mind that I'm not the only one that's, focused in making this business, this podcast a reality, a success.
Hmm. Yeah. And not only that, but I'm curious for you, how much time have you gotten back because you've hired a VA to help you? Like how much time have you gotten back, and like what do you get to focus on now that you couldn't before?
Absolutely. I would easily say that I've gotten back 40 to 50 hours back just from, one virtual assistant helping me 10 hours a week. I've gotten back 40 hours because here's the thing about when you do something for yourself. It's never perfect.
No.
You spend countless hours like, oh, one more minute, oh, 30 more minutes, I'll be done. This will be perfect. And then you're like
Mhm,
tweaking it, and being a designer myself, I spend way more time and figuring those things out than actually employing it and deploying it and then executing. So
mhm,
it's awesome when you have somebody else. They have a step by step process what they need to follow, and when they're done, and they're gonna go through it much more quickly because they're focused on that one specific task. And as entrepreneurs, we are squirrel minded. We're always jumping on what's the latest thing. Oh, TikTok! I gotta do a TikTok video, right? Oh, I gotta go jump on the new YouTube, FaceTime, whatever thing. Like
mhm.
throwing all those words together and mince them together. People are like, oh my god, I gotta get on that.
Yeah, it's true. We're easily distracted and perfectionists, I mean, it's our livelihood, our dream, our passions, whatever it is you're connected to your business. And there's times I'll be designing media or speaker sheets, and I'm like, just one more tweak, just like six more tweaks, just another hour, like
Yeah,
just a little bit more. And it's really nothing that I would really think anyone else can really tell the difference on, but it's just something I see,
yeah,
and I want it to be just right.
yeah. You're absolutely right, and I'm the same way, and for the longest time, I was like, I wish I could clone myself, right? So then I could get twice the work done.
Mhm,
And with VAs, you can technically clone yourself because you're telling them exactly what you do
mhm,
and how they can do it, and then you just multiply that. And I think that's one of the reasons why when Henry Ford says, I don't know, Henry Ford was like, he's the one who set up this entire, the what do you call it, the time belt where you pass from stages. I forget the name for it. The assembly line,
mm,
right?
mhm,
He's like, I don't know anything, but I know 100 people that are really good at it. So knowing the right person to do the job, you
mhm.
save so much time, and you get so many more hours in your day. So yeah, thank you so much, for launching that business.
Yeah, definitely. It was really interesting because there's just so many different types of entrepreneurs that I got to work with. Some were in MLMs.
Mm-hmm.
I would just do some graphics for them. That's kind of what I really enjoyed the most is graphic design. And some of them had like nonprofits, and they were building houses over, sorry, not over, but down in Mexico. And
Mm-hmm.
like, it's just so great to work with such a large variety of different people
Yeah.
and seeing like all the different passions and dreams that people have.
And those passions and dreams is making them a living. Like
Mhm,
that is something that the average human being cannot grasp. And they
mhm,
always think, oh, that's a quick rich scheme. Well, not really. If you really are passionate about something and you teach that something, you can really make a living. A lot of the
mhm,
conversation that I've been having with my guests, entrepreneurs, they've walked the path. And that's what I'm here, interviewing you. You've walked the path. You've been doing this for 10 years, and it's possible. Anybody can do it because there's each one of us bring our own quality, our own uniqueness to this world, and the way we connect with our friends and families. There's none other than who you are. So
mhm.
thank you.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Thank you.
So Abigail, tell me some of your motivations for the things that you do on a daily basis. So what is the current thing that you're working on? What motivates you, and where are you taking it?
Yeah. Do you mean like business wise or just anything goes?
Anything goes.
Anything goes. I know that you follow some of my posts and stuff, and I'm really a big advocator in like working on healing yourself.
Yeah.
And a realization I had earlier this week, someone had like scheduled a Zoom call with me, like a client.
Hmm.
And in my Zoom form, you can leave a comment or ask a question so I can kind of prepare for that. And he asked, what's the answer to life? And I just instinctively, I thanked him for booking the call. And then I wrote, I think the answer to life is learning how to heal yourself so that in turn you're healing the global consciousness.
Yes.
And oh, they gave me goosebumps. And so like that's really what I'm working on right now is just finding all the parts of me that maybe have been a little broken over the
Hmm.
lifetime of different experiences and things I've been through, and
Yeah.
really going inside and asking myself like, what do I need to pass this point? Like, what do I need to heal myself in these areas? And so a lot of things I've been doing right now is doing a lot of journaling,
Hmm.
doing a lot of meditation. I do guided meditation specifically at night,
Hmm.
and I do one called Ho'oponopono. Have you heard of that one
I
before?
have not.
You haven't. It's basically four simple phrases that are just repeated over and over, and it just says, "I'm sorry. Um, please forgive me. Thank you. I love you." And that just repeats over and over. And the idea is to take those words while they're repeating and imagine a scenario in your life that you have a pain or felt hurt by someone,
Yeah.
or by yourself. So I've been mainly focusing towards myself to heal myself from the inside out.
Yeah.
And I've been doing that for about 6 months, and I love it. When I first started, I was like, I don't know if I can meditate for a half an hour. Like, that's a long time. But now I'm stacking meditations. And so I fall asleep to it, and then my subconscious does the rest of the work. And it's been wonderful.
That is beautiful. That's something that I like. I can meditate, but I haven't. I guess my time, the way that I've been meditating, I guess, is by spending time with my kids. Right.
Mm,
So I try to put things out of my mind and try to focus on okay the moment and giving them the most joy possible. And as parents, or as a parent, as a dad, that's something that we value a lot. And I think the VA part helps so much. Having a VA, having somebody, a team member, help you get that time back, because money will come back. Spending time is that this moment will not return.
hmm Yeah. And I think that's a really great point to bring up because people often think that the only way to meditate is to sit down in a quiet place and sit still, think or not think, or try to avoid thinking, whatever it is,
Hmm.
or guided meditations. But really, I think meditation is so many more things. Like you said, it's being present in the moment
Yeah,
and the situation that you're in. And for you, that's with your kids and your family. It
exactly.
could be cooking, it could be reading. It's anything that gets you, I think it's in the theta brain waves. So anything
Yes,
that just kind of gets you right here, even this right now, would be considered maybe meditation because we're being so present with each other.
absolutely. You're 100% right, and that's why I focus on hobbies. I mean, the reason I started the podcast was I wanted to document my beekeeping journey and the peaceful mind. Like you're sitting there looking at these bees going in, coming out. There's because they're busy bees, right? They're moving so fast, and you see them grow, and you see the different things that they're doing. It's meditation in itself. Beekeeping, cycling, whatever it is, whatever hobby that you pick, it's really, you get to use your hands and your mind together in concert,
Mm.
like you're playing, like you're playing piano. It's really powerful. Thank you for bringing that topic up of meditation.
Yeah, I do art in my spare time. Do art. I paint, I draw, graphic design,
Yeah.
and I always, most of the things that I do in the day for my business, I feel like it kind of takes energy from me, right? I have to give something in order to make anything progress, right?
Yeah.
But with art or any type of meditation type activity, I always feel like it's re-energizing me,
Mm-hmm.
revitalizing me. And when I'm done with it, I'm not tired. I'm not, I guess tired is really the only one I can think of, but I'm no longer tired. Like I feel
Yeah.
like I can go out and go do something else after,
You're not
and
exhausted, and that's why they say, the runner's high. You run so long that you're fully energized. Your blood is pumping all through of your entire body and all your muscles. And for a technical term for something like that, Tesla's employed it called regenerative braking, right? You're braking and building energy using that friction energy, converting that into electricity. So you're absolutely right. Doing something that you enjoy, you love, that engages your mind and your body, re-energizes you.
Mhm. Yeah,
Absolutely. Awesome. Okay. So what is something that you're working towards in the future? And actually, you know what? What is something that you do that entrepreneurs listening to this podcast, audience that's listening to the podcast, what can they take away from it? Like, give us some tips that you employ on a daily basis, and how can people get to that next level? And yeah, something like
sure.
that.
Okay.
Give us some tips.
So, yeah, give you some tips. So, as you know, I have the business called the Human Network Connection.
Mm-hmm.
And essentially what it is right now it's a platform that is a directory. In the future, it's going to be expanded into a few other different types of platforms, all encompassed into one. But
Mm-hmm.
right now, it's a place where if you're an entrepreneur, you can go to look at a directory full of media hosts who have podcasts like you,
Mm-hmm.
or YouTube channels, web TV, digital magazines, blogs. I mean, plethora of all types of events, speaker summits that are all virtual.
Mm-hmm.
Everything in the directory is virtual. And when I first started it, people were kind of like, well, why not do like in person speaking events too? And for some reason, my gut was just like, no, I just want to do virtual. And then all of a sudden, COVID hit. And I was like, this makes so much sense now.
Yeah.
So it's basically just a platform to help you guys connect, share, and grow together. Book interviews, features, whatever it is that you're interested in doing. But beyond that, what I like to tell people is right now I'm really trying to explain to people how when they do one interview on a podcast or wherever it is that they're doing it, and for whatever reason they think they're going to get a lot of clients from it, but they don't seem to achieve that goal.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to offer just a slight perspective on why that might be occurring. There's several reasons why, but the one I want to focus on is because when an audience only sees you one time, it's not necessarily enough time for them to really get to know you and to trust you
Yeah.
and to believe in what you're providing, to check out your services. They always say when you're trying to make sales, it takes anywhere from like what 6 to 15 touch points before someone can come to you and say, okay, I'm finally ready to purchase. And so I kind of want people to understand it's a little bit similar to that way. So instead of focusing on doing one interview in like in a mass like array of media, I think it'd be better to do maybe 5 interviews and do, two per, so maybe 6 interviews and like do two per channel. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's you're giving that audience time to just really get to know you, because that's how we build relationships. That's the future of business, and that's where we're going. I think corporate America has kind of had its time for the most part. And I think we're getting ready to really evolve into something else when it comes to businesses, how we function, why we function, how we connect with our clients
Yeah.
and customers, and really going a lot deeper than what we have in the past.
Abigail, what you said right now is giving me goosebumps because so I've been following a few publicists, a really good friend of ours, guest of ours, and a friend, Christina. She talks about publicity and contacting reporters, being on the HARO, help a reporter out network. So I'm subscribed to these emails. So listen, I get 3 emails every day. And when you mentioned this, being in more places and talking about what the services that you're offering, I hadn't thought about that at all from that perspective. Sure, I'm looking to push my podcast and promote it one way or another, but there's something new that I've been working on, which is, setting up my studio. So it took me about a few months to figure out all the things that I wanted in my studio so I can, at a moment's notice, go live or record a video and talk to people and have multiple camera angles, right? So when you mention this, and I'm like the headlines are scrolling in my head. Local man creates a home studio, and this is how you can do it, right? And I'm like, wow, I can go reach out to local news networks and tell them because everybody's at home. All of
Mhm.
our night show hosts are shooting from home, and there was a video I watched. I've since being a videographer and following so many different tools that I use as a video editor. There's a tool called it's escaping my mind, of course. So it enables you to upload content to a cloud server where editors and producers can download it, pick the stuff that you want, put it together, and then publish the show. And that's a system that our good friend Conan O'Brien and his production team is using. So they did an interview with the.
Incredible.
Sorry?
That's incredible.
Yeah. So they're like, yeah, Conan O'Brien is at home. We give him a light, and he's using his iPhone to record all of these conversations. And anytime they're having a interview segment, they're using Zoom, just like all of us. And the recordings then get uploaded. Then the producers and the directors and the editors, they basically take it all down, put the stuff together, and then they publish these episodes. I'm like, wow, if people have a nice looking studio, because there's a ton of people that ran out buying gear such as the Ecamm Live, where you can connect HDMI DSLR cameras to your computer to get really high quality. There's Elgato light set that people are looking for. It's called the Key Light, like $200. It's sold out everywhere, right?
Hmm.
People are picking up these things because everybody wants to be online, right? Everybody wants to go live, and this is the new norm.
Mhm.
And so I was like, wow, this is a very interesting space. So I've had a bunch of equipment being a video editor and a filmmaker. I've had the gear, and I was watching and I've been following Pat Flynn. He's done 120 live streams on YouTube, 2 hour long streams for every day. For
Wow.
114 days, he's been doing it.
Two
Every single day, he's
hours?
spending 2 hours on, from 9 a.m. to 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. because he's in San Diego. So from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m., he's online, talking to people, just giving ton of value.
Hmm.
And he's built, he's gained so many more followers or subscribers on his program, on his YouTube channel. But then he's also has so many courses that you can purchase from him, and so he's basically built that brand up. He's focused on that. So you're absolutely right. You got to show up more, and you can't be a guest on just one episode. You got to be a guest on a ton of different platforms. Keep talking about your story, what value you're bringing, and that also points me to a direction. There's a really great podcaster, Donnie Boyvin, of
Mhm.
the business, the champions, and he calls us champions, and he was like, so I asked him, hey, can I be a guest on your podcast? And then he asked me, okay, what value are you bringing? And for the longest time, I was like, I don't know. I don't have a value. I'm just
Hmm.
very fascinated about everything, and I'm a hobbyist. I love hobbies, and I'm talking about it, but how is that going to help anybody? So for the longest time, I was like, I don't have anything. I don't have an offer to to sell. But now I do. Like I figured, like it's, and I think it takes time, right? It takes time for you to grow out of that mindset and upgrade and learn and keep learn and like, and then everything starts making sense, and you start seeing the same thing, the same red car everywhere because you love the color red, right? So it's all coming together. I'm really fascinated by the connections I'm making, and the parallels in our mindset is just what blows my mind.
Yeah, that's first of all, shout out to Donnie. I mean, let's be honest, he's killing it. He
He's
always
killing
has.
it.
Like,
Yes.
yeah, he's incredible, absolutely incredible. I love watching his content. Um, but it's such a good question for him to ask because again, stop doing interviews because you think you're going to get sales. Just stop it. Like if that's your end game, you're not doing this right at this point. A couple years ago, a few years ago, sure, that's where we were in this I don't know what you want to call it, but that's where we were. But that's just not where we're going anymore. And now it's definitely less about you and more about how can you help others, how can you educate them, how can you solve problems in their lives, how can you help them heal. It's almost like your hacks and hobbies is a wonderful podcast because it teaches people how to step back from being busy and being entrepreneur and working, and how can I do something fun for myself or for my family, and how can I pull that energy more in a positive direction. So I think you have a lot of value to give with what you're doing.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. That means a lot. And even though even though, and that's the other thing, right? You see yourself as somebody, and others see you as somebody else. Like you can't see from that perspective. It's impossible, and you really have to step out of yourself or self to be able to see that. And that reminds me of Doctor Strange, where he she pushed him out of him, like whoa, right? To be able to do that, we can't do that in real life unless we have somebody, you know, our friends and families, or entrepreneurs, other entrepreneurs. And I think that's where mastermind groups and other coaching groups come in, where like the value that you mentioned about me, I wouldn't have, I can't see it because I'm too close, and that, like they say, I'm too much in the weeds. I need
Mhm.
a 10,000-foot view, or 30,000-foot view from somebody else's perspective. So thank you so much. That's very encouraging. And Donnie he's amazing, and being a sales force focused, he's been in sales, so being in sales, and that's something that came really hard for me. I mean, I'm a user experience designer. I've been sitting in front of a computer being a hermit, all my life, being this is a space that I love to hang out in, and creating content and creating value. But I don't see it myself as creating value for others. But the more I look at it, the more I see others talking about like what I'm passionate about, like people that I follow, they're talking about the same stuff that I'm passionate about. Like, well, I can do the same thing and talk about and teach people of what I know. And when I start talking about technology in the unconventional leaders group, we're doing Tech Tuesdays, Tech Talk Tuesdays, and I'm talking about technology there. They're like, "Wow, I didn't know that at all." I'm like, "Wow, I thought everybody knew, right?" So that's something that we don't realize. Like everybody doesn't know everything,
Mhm. Yeah, yeah, that's very true. I mean, you don't know until you know.
and you don't know till you actually talk about it that
Mhm.
people need that knowledge. People need that help in getting to that next level.
Yeah. Maybe there's a post you can do on your Facebook, and because we're seeing how others see you instead of how we see ourselves, maybe you can ask, what kind of value do you see that I give? And then people can just lose their minds on that post.
No, that's really valuable, because what I've been posting is I've been asking people about different questions. Like I had a AMA on tech on my profile, and there was a lot of people that asked me questions. If some were funny, like how do I build the Iron Man arc reactor, or can quantum computer break RC encryption? I'm like, sure it can, but you'll have to wait 2 decades for that,
Right.
right? So there's some funny questions. So but you're being very specific. What value can I bring you now that you know what I know?
Mhm. Or what value have you seen me provide?
Hmm.
It sometimes, just like you said, I don't remember what artist. I don't know if it's Monet or whoever, but it's the paintings where you get real close to them. You're like, what is all of this? And then you step back and you're like, oh, that's what it is.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
definitely like that for sure.
No, really, really, really good points. Thank you so much. All right, at this point, I like to ask my guests some really fun questions, and let's see what works for you. Give me 1 second, actually. Does my son looking to ask to? He wanted to ask if the neighbors can come out and play. So they've been playing outdoors since we're all quarantined for the past. God, I even 100 days, right? It's been 100 something days,
It's
and
been a
but
while.
they go out and bike. You know, they can bike with the neighbors' kids, so that's been fun. All right, so I should have hit pause, but it's fine.
That's okay, no worries.
We're
Welcome
back.
to life. Welcome to life.
Welcome to life. We're back with the fun questions to ask of our guest, Abigail Sinclair. What is the one hobby that you wish you got into?
Ooh. Well, I just started getting into jump roping, but the hobby that I wished I got into is actually going, I'm hoping if I can do this right,
Mm-hmm.
it will be incorporated into jump roping. So
Ooh,
jump roping is a lot of footwork, right? And I don't know if you've ever heard of sea walking or crip walking.
I have not.
It's like a gang dance,
Okay.
but it's all done with like heel to toe
Mm.
bouncing. So I figured because it's so rhythmic, if you could do it just right, you could like sea walk and jump rope. So
Oh
like
wow.
that's my new biggest challenge I want to do this summer.
Yeah, that would be an awesome thing to see. One another thing about jump roping that I learned was double jumping, or
Yeah,
spinning the rope twice the speed. And my neighbor was trying to do that. He's trying to do those quick jumps, and I was like, wow, how are you able to do that? And then I looked at his jump rope, and it's like this metal, like heavy duty metal thing with plastic covering. I'm like, wow, you can really get hurt. Like, yeah, I've hurt myself with it.
yeah. When I first started, I had so many lash marks. Like my legs were all messed
Oh
up.
man.
But it's, that's just the nature of the beast when you're learning something new.
That's right. That's right. You gotta fail a few to get to that next level. Failing fast. All right, next question. What did you want to be when you were a child?
A detective, undercover
Oh,
detective.
an undercover detective. Hmm.
Yeah, I always look really young, and so from my childhood, I just I didn't really understand what detectives were at the time. But as I started getting older, I realized like maybe because I look so young, I could help with like child sex crimes and stuff, and like
Hmm.
how to catch a predator, and that was a big dream. But the
Wow.
police people didn't want me.
No,
I,
they
I
don't
didn't
want you.
I didn't ace their test or whatever they were looking for.
Got it. Well, talking about detectives, Veronica Mars was a really cool show.
Yes. Did you hear about Veronica Mars
Sorry?
recently? Did you hear about what happened to the woman who played Veronica
No,
Mars?
I didn't.
She joined a cult.
She joined the
And now
cult.
it was a sex trafficking cult.
Oh,
And now I don't know if she's in prison, but I know the leader, I believe he's in prison. And I think she's
oh wow.
either going to jail or on her way because of her
That's
involvement.
that's crazy. So the way I got into Veronica Mars is I'm a huge Kickstarter backer. I've backed over 280 Kickstarter projects over the past, 7, 8 years, and they launched a project to bring back Veronica Mars as a movie. So I backed the project. I was like, okay, I'm backing this project, but I need to I need to get the backstory. So I went back and watched all 3 seasons of Veronica Mars, and I forgot to watch the last episode, and then I ended up watching the movie. I'm like, okay, so that's what happened. That was pretty fun. All right, next question. What is your favorite movie or TV show?
Hmm. Um, what just happened? It left my brain. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I can't remember the name of it. I can
Make a
tell you the
make a
process.
fist. Make a fist with your right hand.
Uh, no, nothing.
No, that's all right.
Embers. Embers.
Which one?
Embers.
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 I
Mm-hmm.
have never heard of that one. Maybe I have. So what's the genre of this movie?
Um, Gosh, I don't even know the genre. It's basically like humanity loses their ability to have short-term memories, or sorry, long-term memories.
Okay.
And so people every time, I mean, it's a little different for each person, but for example, like one guy, anytime he goes to sleep and he wakes up, he forgets everything.
Mm-hmm.
And it has about six different storylines that it follows, six different people and what they're experiencing in this kind of like a almost like a post-apocalyptic world,
Wow.
and like how all of them are surviving and maybe not surviving certain situations. But the big takeaway is just learning how to live in the moment again. Just being present when you can because that's all they have. And so
Wow,
it's a
that's
very
so
interesting movie.
cool. I mean, that sound like I remember 51st Dates.
Ah,
That was an
that's a
awesome
great
movie, right? So
yeah.
that rings a bell. And then Memento, where, he had short-term memory, so he would tattoo himself. Like, where was I? So I'm gonna have to check that movie out because that's really fascinating to me. All right, what movie would you choose if you got to play a character in it?
Ooh. Shaun of the Dead. I love zombies, and
Oh man,
I think it's amazing when zombies do comedy. So
no,
that one.
that was a really really awesome movie. Amen to that. So, if you like zombies, have you been watching any of these zombie shows like Walking Dead, Fear of the
All of
Walking
them.
Dead, all of them?
I watch all of them. All of them.
How about Ash, or
No.
Dead Evil, or Evil Dead? Sorry.
Yeah, Evil Dead for sure. Classic.
Yeah.
I love that they relaunched it. So,
Well, there is many versions of the movie. There's many sequels of the movie, correct?
yeah, I think well, I mean,
Probably three of.
I think three or four. Yeah,
Well, they made a TV series called Ash. I don't know if you saw that one.
I think so. It's
Okay.
like he's older now,
Yeah,
right?
he's
And he has
older.
like a team. He has a like two people that hang out with him to go fight zombies, and
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
the lady who plays Xena, the warrior princess, is even in it.
Oh, she's in it. Nice. I'm gonna have to watch it because I was like, oh, I want to go back and watch the original Evil Dead, and then I'll go watch Ash. But time.
I can't watch the original. I've watched the original Evil Dead, but the scene where the zombie or lady demon thing comes up from the floorboards, I just can't. I can't.
It's just
It's like
too, it's
too
too,
much for me,
too
that
much.
scene.
All right, there's another zombie movie called Zombieland.
Yes.
What do you think? That was so good, right?
Fun. I liked it. I even liked part two. Not that it was better by any means,
Hmm.
but I think it held its own, you
I've
know?
been waiting. I've been meaning to watch part two, and I ended up getting the extras from part one, and I was like, none of this makes any sense. It was like all the extras put together, like none of this makes sense. So then I was like, okay, let me go rent the right one. All right, zombies. Yeah, it's something else. I mean, Z World or World War, was it World War Z with what's his name? Brad Pitt
Hmm.
versus Z World. That was something else. Like zombies with superpowers. Like get
Yeah.
out of town, man. Keep those ones away from me.
Did you ever see Warm Bodies?
No.
That one's also a very
Oh no, no,
interesting.
I did see the movie Warm Bodies. Yes, yes, yes. And I was going to mention I Zombie.
Yep.
That was
Yep.
really good too. Okay.
I love them all, honestly.
No, those are
I just love the different perspectives of what zombies are and what people, yeah.
absolutely, absolutely awesome. All right, next question. Who is your favorite superhero?
Ooh. Captain Marvel.
I love her. She's so good.
Yeah, I actually had never seen the movie, and you know Robert Garcia, right?
Hmm.
We were hanging out one day, and he's like, "I know you like superheroes. Have you seen Captain Marvel?" And I was like, "Nah, I don't know if really that one's for me." And he's like, "Nah, you're gonna love it." He was right. I loved it.
Yeah.
Um, I was like, "Dude, she's my new role model. Like, I want to be that badass. Can I please?"
Amen. Amen.
hmm
Um, I remember if you told me which character you'd play, or did you say which movie? Which movie would you choose if you had to play a character in it?
Oh yeah, that's what brought up the zombie one.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah.
So,
So
which
Shaun of the
movie
Dead.
is it?
Shaun of the Dead.
Shaun of the Dead. That's right. Sorry, my brain is.
It's all right. You got kids. It's COVID. It's
Yeah. All right. Last question. If you were a board game, what would it be?
well, I play D&D, so that would be it. I mean, if I could just become a D&D game, that would be awesome.
Well, I don't know if that's a board game specifically, but there are. Or maybe it is a board game. Like, let me show you.
Yes, I am showing you. So there's like pieces and you move
Oh,
them around on maps and you have characters. Um, so this is my old character.
nice. That's so cool.
So in a way, it's kind of like a board game, not a classic concept like
Hmm.
Sorry or Monopoly or anything like
Monopoly.
that. Yeah.
What's
But
funny is that there are zombie board games where you roll the dice and then you see, you pick different cards and you like zombies are coming to you and you run away.
yeah.
So there are board games that are based off of like Walking Dead or iZombie and stuff like that. And then talking about zombies again, there was an app called Run something,
Yes.
which was a Kickstarter project, and it was basically you have your headphones in and you have your phone and you're playing this game and it's telling you okay now walk, and there are zombies coming and then you start running, and basically on your run you're picking up supplies and whatnot to take back to your camp.
hmm Yeah, I actually use that. That's my running app. It's called Zombies Run. Well, Run
Zombies Run,
Zombies
that's
Run.
right. That was an awesome and fun app to play.
I love it because you can actually hear the zombies like or whatever zombie noise
Yes, yes.
you
I remember playing that game or using that game to run also when I was back in Denver. I don't run much, but I think if they had a cycling version, that'd
do.
be so much more fun because I cycle a lot.
You can actually run it while you do anything. It doesn't have to just be running because
That's true.
it will pick up your pace, and then that I think the pace is what dictates the
The
storyline.
storyline. Oh.
hmm
All right, I'm gonna have to go back and give it a try. I think they're at version 3 or 4 now. It's been so long.
Yeah, it's they've done a lot of upgrades. It's amazing to see how far they've come.
Yeah, beautiful. It's like we're running in same circles. What's going on? And we've just met. All right, Abigail, this was a lot of fun talking to you. Thank you so much for sharing your knowledge, sharing your mindset, sharing your tips and tricks. And, it was just so much fun getting to know you on a totally different level and learning about your personality as the lover of zombies, Um, and every time you say, heal yourself from the inside, I keep thinking the song Heal the World by Michael Jackson.
It's the same thing. It's the same message
It's the same
because
message.
you know, in my mind, we're all one consciousness. We're all connected,
Absolutely.
and we're reflections of each other. So when we take the time to heal ourselves, we're actually healing our brothers and sisters, or
Yeah.
vice versa. When we offer forgiveness to people who've hurt us in the past, or love, or all of the above, and what that does is it not only lets us free from carrying that baggage,
Yeah.
but it sends them that healing energy too, and who knows, maybe that can help them move on as well, and then simultaneously it's still healing you, so I don't know.
Wow, that is so powerful, and that hits me on a totally different level because our physical self, like our brain is just the operating system for our body, but our mind is not of this world.
Mm-mm.
It's, there are several dimensions, and we only know three of them or four of them, I guess. Like time
Mhm.
is one dimension, and then all of this is very linear, but there are
Mhm.
more dimensions because when you talk about quantum physics and quantum entanglement,
Yeah, I love quantum physics.
it's so inspiring. And one of my uncles, he talks in very deep details about
Mhm.
the theories of quantum and how it's been like from day one, like all of it, like the universe is still expanding, it's still growing, it's a living being, right? So all of that and combined with who we are as human beings. And there was a TikTok that I watched, and this guy is saying that in 7 years we're not the same person because every single cell in our body has died and we have new cells. So we are
Yeah.
not the same person that was 7 years ago.
Mhm.
It's the consciousness in our mind, and when our body dies, we become part of the earth, and then plants grow, and then somebody is eating those plants and trees, and we are just a consciousness in a body, and we're all the same. So that's just so beautiful, looking at from that perspective. We're all the same. We're all here to do just one thing, is to help one another and
Mhm.
heal each other. So thank you so much for helping us get there. And last question, where can my audience find you?
Sure. You can look me up on Facebook, Abigail Sinclair with an E. I'll probably be the first one you see on there because there's never an E in Sinclair. And then the other place you can find me if you're interested in learning more about what I do is www.humannetworkconnection.com. And I would be more than happy to help anyone who's interested.
Awesome. Thank you, Abigail. I'll be sure to drop the links in the podcast notes so people can connect with you. Thank you so much for your time and your energy and sharing the healing power that comes with this deep connection. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to Hacks and Hobbies. You can find additional information on the guest today on their website, hacksandhobbies.com. Please feel free to subscribe to the podcast so you don't miss out on upcoming interviews with amazing guests.